Good morning, Briarcliff Bears.
Good morning, Mrs. Michael.
So over the last couple of days in reading, we've been talking about point of view and how that is someone's opinion or the angle at which they see something. So what we've been trying to work on is how do we determine that, or how do we figure that out? So we have a couple of things that we've figured out so far. Thank you, Cameron, for having your eyes up here. We have some persuasive words that sometimes can give away what someone's thinking, if they think something is fair or right or wrong, or if they deserve something. These are all good words that we've found that can kind of help us. And a couple of days ago, you guys got to partner read an article and kind of talk together about what you thought that author's point of view was. What we're going to work on now is our new article. We read this yesterday about kids eating your breakfast, and we've just kind of been talking a little bit about what are these strategies that we went through together to help us figure out what that author may have been thinking. So today, what I wanted to do was, I took all my thinking from when we annotated and we highlighted things on our article, and I wrote up a couple of responses. So the question I was trying to answer was, what is the author's point of view in the article, Kids Eat Your Breakfast? Okay, I'm going to read you the article just to review what it sounds like. So go ahead and get your eyeballs and your brains thinking about what this was about. Kids eat your breakfast. Kids, you need to start eating breakfast. Many of you think that eating food in the morning is not important. Sometimes you're too tired to eat. At the same time, you are growing. You have a lot of schoolwork and maybe you play sports too. Now that you're older, you can stay up later. You do not want to eat breakfast because you don't feel hungry. Many kids see their moms and dads miss breakfast. This is not good for children. Skipping breakfast can make you weigh more. It can hurt your schoolwork. Not eating enough in the morning could even hurt your heart. Children who eat breakfast tend to do better in school. Skipping breakfast makes it hard to think. You are too hungry. You are growing fast and you need food to grow. Children who eat breakfast eat more foods like fruits and vegetables. Some people feel tired or angry when they are hungry. Eating a good breakfast can also help you feel better. You need food in the morning and dinner last night. Here are some ideas of some breakfast ideas. You could have yogurt, granola, eggs, fruit, beef jerky, a smoothie, or even, what's this last one say? Or even if you get up earlier and you have enough time, you can get something like pancakes. All right, so we've got lots of different options from this author right here. So here we go. I'm going to read the very first response I have on there, and I want you to turn and talk with a partner about what are some things you think Mrs. Michael did well when she got started writing her answer to the question, what is the author's point of view? Okay. So the first one says, in Kids Eat Your Breakfast, I think the author's point of view is that kids should eat breakfast because it's important. Turn and tell your neighbor what you think. All right. So what do you think I'm doing well so far in this first one? What's something that you would do? What do you think, Shane? Okay, so I gave the point of view. Can we underline that and say that to the side? Is that kind of the main point of what we're doing here? Yeah. Okay. See so far.
What I do is that all the items that we see is the point of view.
Okay, so I stated the point of view. Was it clear? Did you say, or was it kind of confusing?
Just the point of view that I'm getting towards.
Okay. Do you think it was the right point of view?
Yeah, sort of.
Oh, so I told you what I read. Is that important to start with what you read about, so that way some people know? Yeah. Okay. Come back to me. Okay, I heard a couple things that you guys said that Mrs. Michael did well. Before we write on our scale chart, I want you to just kind of write at the bottom, or you can write at the top actually, what would you rate Mrs. Michael? Level 1, level 2, level 3?
Level 1.
Okay, now hold it up on your finger so I can see. You can kind of look at your neighbors and see what they thought. Really good. All right, turn the page.
Wait, aren't we going to do our spot thing?
We will in just a second. Turn the page. I love the way that Jose took some time to write some things down so he won't forget all the good things Mrs. Michael did on that one. That's going to help him remember later. All right, will you turn to the one that says response B? So the other side, Lenny. All right, so this one says, in Kids, Eat Your Breakfast, I think the author's point of view is that kids should eat breakfast. The author thinks that kids who eat breakfast do better in school and are in a better mood. Turn and tell your neighbor what you think I did well on that one. So what are you noticing on this one?
I'm going
Point of view is clear. What do you think about the organization of it?
I was going on A.
Yeah, if it were your article, would you want to start with the point of view and then give the evidence after? Do you think that makes more sense?
I had one kind of like one evidence in there.
Oh, a piece of evidence? Okay. Are there things you think I could add on still to get better?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It's getting kind of quiet. I think you guys figured it all out. Okay, yet again at the very top, go ahead and rate Mrs. Michael what you would give her right at this moment without reading the last one. And then you can hold it up in the air just like Lynn Ann. Look around at your neighbors, see if you kind of thought the same thing as them. A lot of people thinking the same thing. 2.5. Okay, all right, turn to my last response. And let's get some ideas going on this one. Personal best spelling, don't worry about spelling. We'll do it together. All right, the very last article, Article C, says, in Kids, Eat Your Breakfast, the author Casey Seinberg says, or believes, that kids should eat their breakfast because it's important. She says that kids who eat breakfast do better in school and are in a better mood. She also writes that skipping breakfast can hurt your schoolwork, hurt your heart, and make you weigh more. And tell your neighbor what you think about this one. Do you feel like my answer is stronger when I have more evidence like that? Okay.
Why are you so much
About the organization of this one. Okay. Can you tell that Mrs. Michael kind of spent time editing and proofreading, making sure like my spelling and my punctuation were right? Yeah. Come back to me.
Okay.
All right. So, right at the top, what level you think you'd give Mrs. Michael? Okay, you guys seem to pretty much be in agreement with all three of them. Let's turn all the way back to the first one, which you guys all said was a level 1. I'm going to bring that down to the scale. All right, you're going to be writing similar things as Mrs. Michael on your sheet. We're going to write down the criteria, the things that made this a level 1. What are the things Mrs. Michael is doing well so far in this piece? Thank you so much for those of you participating. Jose?
I think you did well stating the point of view.
Okay, so that was really the point of the project, right? Was to state the point of view.
And I also think you did well on underlining the title.
Oh. Why do you think that's important for Mrs. Michael to start by saying what I read? Why would that make it more clear for you?
Because if you didn't, you would be like, what is she even talking about? Or what is, like, if you wrote this, they wouldn't even know what text you're talking about.
Yeah, so it just makes it more clear. So I'm going to write, start with the article's title. And then I'm going to underline the word title, because we know as writers, when we say something about a title, we have to underline it because that tells you it's the title of the text. I'm going to give you just a second to catch up with me. Thank you for those of you making good choices and really checking the chart to make sure you're spelling it the correct way. I'm going to go through and just highlight the things that you told me so far. So you told me Mrs. Michael included the title, and you liked that. You also told me you liked how I stated the point of view, and I said the author's point of view is that kids should eat breakfast. So I was talking on the floor with Shayna just a couple minutes ago about this, and we talked about, I said the point of view. What if I had said something like this? In Kids, Eat Your Breakfast, I think the author's point of view is that we should go swimming later today.
No.
I stated a point of view.
Yeah.
Is that the author's point of view, though? No. Did the article say anything about that? No. So even in the level 1, my answer has to be right, and my answer has to be clear. Okay? So I chose this as the number 1, Jackson, because I felt like a lot of times this is where 3rd graders start. And let's see how we can make it even better with the next one. Go ahead and turn to the second one. In Kids, Eat Your Breakfast, I think the author's point of view is that kids should eat breakfast. The author thinks that kids who eat breakfast do better in school and are in a better mood. Okay, what are you guys thinking this time? Linnea, what do you think?
You told this title and you added more detail.
Okay, again, I started with the title because I want to reference what I'm talking about. That's important. Kind of makes it more clear. There's some other things you guys are noticing. I have some other people be really brave. We've got a couple people who've been brave the whole time. Logan, what else?
You gave a clear point of view and you used some sentence starters.
Ooh, I was waiting for someone to say that, Logan. If you didn't hear him, he said we kind of used the sentence starters that we had talked about the other day. So we had talked about that sometimes it just makes sense to say things like, he thinks that, she thinks that. The point of view is, those are some good things to start our sentences with, just so we know what's going on and how we should start. So I'm going to underline, I think the author's point of view is, and we'll call that a sentence starter.
I call it a sentence starter.
You're right, that does make it make more sense, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you said that the point of view is that kids should eat breakfast. Again, we found that point of view. I'm going to abbreviate with POV for point of view because I know you guys know what that means. Do you need a little bit of time? Yeah. I love the way other people are thinking while they're waiting on their friends. That's very smart. So Bella, what would you add?
You gave some evidence.
Tell me which part was evidence.
It will help you with your schoolwork and a better mood. They'll be in a better mood.
Okay. So you'll do better in school and be in a better mood. So I kind of gave 2 different pieces of evidence of why they think you should do it. So I'm going to call that supporting
I called it evidence.
evidence. Other sentence starter that I used right there, Logan, did you see that?
The
Look how it says,
that.
yeah, the author thinks that. So that's the other way that I started my sentence.
Can you give us time?
Of course. But you might think about that because that might be one way that you can use it when you write yours today. We're going to give people just a second of time. So many good ideas. Cameron, what else are you thinking?
Nice word choice.
Tell me about what you mean by word choice.
It's like better than like those like first grade words.
Okay, so we're using that kind of like academic language that came right from the article. It's not something that we made up. All right. For sure, I definitely see more evidence and details. Yeah. Okay, last thing, yeah.
You gave, like, it's kind of like a point of view, but it's the reason and details.
It's, okay, so you feel like it had the reason and then the details. You know what I think you're trying to say, Shane? Is it was organized in a way that made sense. If Mrs. Michael had read this to you and it sounded like this, I think that the author's point of view is that kids should eat breakfast and kids eat your breakfast. The kids who eat breakfast, the author thinks in school do better and have a good mood.
No.
I used all the same words,
But you didn't put
but that didn't really make sense, right? So does organization matter? Yeah. So you're saying, Shane, that my organization kind of looked like this. I had first, I stated the point of view, and then I backed it up with evidence. Kind of like that?
Yeah.
Really nice. You guys are doing a great job. I'm so glad you're getting all these notes down because this is going to help you so much. You can refer back to this when you're writing yours later today. You'll have all this criteria ready for you. If you're ready, flip to level 3. All right, I'm going to read the last one to you, and that way you can kind of hear what the difference is between the last one we read and this one. Level 3. In Kids, Eat Your Breakfast, the author, Casey Seidenberg, believes that kids should eat breakfast because it's important. She says that kids who eat breakfast do better in school and are in a better mood. She also writes that skipping breakfast can hurt your schoolwork, hurt your heart, and make you weigh more. Okay, lots of good things. What do you see? Yeah.
I see that you put in you said a kids eat your breakfast, the author, and then you said their name.
Oh, do you like that?
I like it.
Tell me why.
Because it makes more sense because you said that it has the person who wrote it, and so we all know who wrote it.
Aha, so now we know whose opinion we're really talking about, right?
But it's not. It doesn't have to be ours. It can be
Her point of view, right? Yeah, because we've done our point of view before, but this time we're just focusing on their point of view.
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to start with the same thing. Start with article, title, and author's name. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to catch up because I know that was a lot. That's money, what do you think?
More details.
Tell me what you mean by that.
Like you said, like you will get in a better mood, and like.
Okay, so we said they'd be in a better mood.
And they said like do better in school.
Okay, so we have 2 reasons that you should do it. So we have supporting evidence. That's a lot. I know. Supporting evidence of why you should do this. And I said that in the last one. I said if you eat breakfast, you could do better in school and you could be in a better mood. But I want you to hear the next part. The next part is not saying that we should do it. Listen to this. She also writes that skipping breakfast can hurt your schoolwork, hurt your heart, and make you weigh more. What else is this author really trying to do to persuade us? She's not only telling us why we should, she's telling us why we
need to, because we could hurt our heart, we could hurt
Yeah. She's telling us if you don't do this, these are the negative effects of what could happen, right?
It's sometimes I don't eat my breakfast and I get cranky at school and it hurts my schoolwork.
So do you feel like it's persuading you?
Yeah, it's persuading me to eat my breakfast. And I've also had this problem before.
Okay. Okay, what else? Bella, what else?
You put the author's point of view.
Kind of like the sentence starters? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to write sentence starters again, kind of like the last one. And Bella, will you help me find those sentence starters? You can kind of help me find the ones that, like, if you were going to write something today, you could use these same ones if you wanted to. Which ones could you use?
The author Casey Seidenberg.
Okay. So I'm going to go like this. The author, Casey Seidenberg, and you can change the author's name, believes that could be a good way to start a sentence. What's another way, Bella? Do you see another one in there?
She also writes.
She also writes. That's a good way to start a sentence. I can see one more. Can you see it? She says that. Are those all different ways I can start my sentences that help? Okay. All right. What else? What else makes this level 3? What makes this better than a level 2?
I don't have any more.
Cameron, what do you think?
She made she made this one better because she made people more willing to read it and stuff, and like she told like more what could happen and like.
So you just feel like the more information, the more persuading it is?
Yeah, and it's like that. Like I really need to read this.
Oh, so it's like compelling you to want to do what she's saying. Yeah, that is persuasive if it makes you think that. What else, Lynn?
You told it in order.
Ah, that organization again. We said that in the last one, and this one really is in order.
Organization.
We know organization is important because otherwise our response might not make sense. I was talking to Anna a little bit ago, and Anna and I decided that the other thing I think Mrs. Michael did when she wrote level 3 versus level 2 or level 1 is she did what we do in writing class. What do we do in writing when we're done with our first draft?
Look over and edit.
We look over and edit, and what does that look like for us? What are we checking for? We're checking for misspelling. Are we checking for if we're missing like endings on a sentence, like S? Are we checking for punctuation? And are we kind of listening it to just say, does this just make sense? So I don't even give Mrs. Michael credit for that. I think she did some editing and revising. And to me, that is what makes it level 3, and that's different from level 2. She did all those things to make it better. What else?
Like she made it more persuading. Like if one person reads it, then they like go tell like their family or something.
Okay. So Shane thinks it's so well written, so persuasive that if he read this to somebody, they would probably be persuaded to do what this says. That's how well written this is.
And so,
yeah.
Like they could be healthy.
Do you feel that way about this one? If I just came up to you and said, hey Shane, I read this article called Kids Eat Your Breakfast, and the author's point of view is that kids should eat their breakfast because it's important. Is that information enough to get you to do it? No. You really do have to persuade people, don't you? Okay, so last thing. Yep.
The points of view.
We did, yeah, we had just, well, I guess we kind of skipped that, but just like in the last two, we did state the point of view because that really is the big thing that we're trying to do, right? Yeah. You can add that to the list. Thank you. And it was clear and it was correct, right? We never had any of our articles that had the wrong, any of our responses have the wrong point of view. They all have the right point of view. You're welcome to write POV. Yep.
We have a lot.
All right, so as we're wrapping up today, readers, I want to make sure you know as you go off and you try this on your own in your article today, I want you to look back at Mrs. Michaels as a reference, as a way to help you get yourself better. You might also think about some of these persuasive words that we've talked about. You might also think about the sentence starters that Mrs. Michael used in hers that you could use today. And I want you to shoot for, when you go off, writing a level 3 response to your article. Turn and tell your neighbor what you're going to do today. What are you going to do?